What's going on YouTube? Cloverbell's here back with another Series 12 team building video, and today we're going to be looking at Kyogre and Solgaleo. These two are probably one of my favorite archetypes right here, and I've always been a big fan of Solgaleo, especially in a rain archetype. I think it's possibly my favorite archetype. But before I get into the team building, I want to show you how this squad came to be. So in order to show you that, I have to remove these two first, and I'm gonna have to take you all the way back to Series 9, believe it or not. Yeah, let's go back to Series 9 just for a moment, and let me show you how this whole team developed. So originally I had Metagross, right? I started with Metagross, and I took a different approach with how someone would normally build a Metagross team, and I turned it into a manual rain archetype, and I thought that was pretty cool at the time because you could shut off the sun teams, and not only that, deal well into everything else. So how did I do this? So I had Tornadus Metagross, and this is very common, right? Because you had Brutal Swing in addition to Tailwind, right? So Tailwind, Hurricane, Brutal Swing, and you know, in the fourth slot it was either something like Icy Wind or Protect. I think it was Protect. Okay, Metagross was a standard weakness policy set, obviously, because I had the Brutal Swing. And then from here, I started to basically turn it into a rain archetype where I had Rillaboom, okay, Gmax Rillaboom. I had the Entei also, which was an Assault Vest Entei with Inner Focus, and it also had Bulldoze. Okay, the other moves are relatively standard. Again, I'm not going to get into the full team building guide of this. I'm just telling you the story of how I came up with this Solgaleo Kyogre team. And then from here, I had what's his name, Grimmsnarl in this slot, just a screen set with reflect and light screen, just so that I could stall out potential Trick Room or Tailwind turns, just to out bulk the damage. And then in the last slot, I had Kingdra, okay, and oh, now I remember, it wasn't Protect, it was Rain Dance. Okay, and basically I was going for a Dragon Fairy, Steel, Fire, Water, Grass Core, and this kind of squad, and by the way, Kingdra had Life Orb, this kind of squad I gave to my friend Tanner at the time, and he entered the Rose Tower tournament and got top 16, right? So it was cool to see this kind of squad do really, really well, and I thought it was a pretty interesting take on a rain team with a steel type on it, right? Usually at the time you saw like Kartana, you saw even Celesteela, but I decided to go with Metagross, and this is what Series 9 looked like. And then Series 10, this is a little bit not so good because there was no Dynamax, and you know, Metagross just wasn't good without Dynamax. And then you went to Series 11. Nobody really played Series 11, but still you had something like this, where you just replaced the Metagross for a better Metagross, and it was Solgaleo, right? Okay, and I pretty much still kept the team the same. I thought Kingdra was really good, especially against potential Suns teams, because you had Airstream for the Venusaur, you had Max Geyser for the Zard and the Groudon, and it was just a great mon, especially with Tornadus with Rain Dance and Tailwind, so that was always nice. And this was a cool team, but now we're in Series 12, okay? So now how do we throw in Kyogre in here and somehow? So now that I've told you the brief background story of how I came up with this, now let's make a couple changes here. So let's remove the Kingdra and let's go with Kyogre. All right, I would have loved to keep the Kingdra in there somehow. I think you still can. You would just have to make a couple of adjustments to one of these, maybe remove either the Tornadus or the Grimmsnarl, but you know, you can put the Kingdra here, but I don't really want to double in on the water typing. So now we have Kyogre, we have Tornadus, we have Solgaleo, and then we still have the Firegrass brothers. We have Rillaboom and Entei here with Bulldoze, and we still have our screen sets Grimmsnarl, right? So this is the squad I came up with, and then I'm going to show you one other squad that I've been thinking about lately after Victory Road, that I think can do just as well, maybe even a little bit better. But yeah, let's just go with this squad. So now you know the 6, so let's just go ahead and reveal our GIFs. So there's the Rillaboom, there's the Entei, there's the Tornadus, and finally there's the Grimmsnarl. So this was my 6, and now let's just hash out all the items, the EVs, and the movesets. Alright, so let's start with Kyogre first. So we're going to keep it standard with Kyogre and go with the Mystic Water. And we're going to go with Water Spout. That's Waterfall. That's Water Pulse. Water Spout. Origin Pulse. Ice Beam. We need that ice coverage for annoying Landresses and Protect in the final slot. Okay, now from here, we're going to go into Tornadus. So you can actually keep this move set, but what I'm going to do instead, because we already have the Kyogre, and and not Kingdra, we can remove the Rain Dance, but I think it's still okay. I think if you ran Prankster Thundurus, you can put Rain Dance on here, just to manually change the weather. But for this, you could either put Protect in the final slot, or you can go with something like Weather Ball, which I think is really, really nice now in Series 12. And then from here, you can go either Focus Sash or you can go Life Orb. So this way you still put on pressure with the Tornadus. You have the Dynamax option with the Tornadus to go for those stab, hard-hitting max Airstreams. You even have Weather Ball now. You can even go for a Max Darkness into a Calyrex if you need to, which can KO it. So you have options with the Tornadus with this kind of Life Orb set. And obviously we are going to be Prankster. Now, we do have the Brutal Swing that can activate the weakness policy on our Solgaleo, which is next. And we got a cool tech on the Solgaleo, and I'll actually reveal it at the end. Because if I reveal it now, then you're going to stop watching the video, and we can't be having that. So, Sunsteel Strike. Oh, that's Sunny Day. Sunsteel Strike. Alright, Sunsteel Strike. Alright, Earthquake. And the last slot will be Protect. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to tell you it now. And normally you would see Rock Slide on here, but we're going to go with the #1 Clover Tech here on Solgaleo, which has saved me many, many, many games, okay? And if you watch how our Series 11 squad went, you'll know, yeah, it came up handy there. It is Wild Charge, okay? Now, you might think, well, why the heck would you run Wild Charge Solgaleo? If it's bad on Zacian, why is it good on Solgaleo? Well, I'll tell you why. Because, first of all, this is a hard-hitting move after weakness policy, and then the main reason, actually, there's many reasons why you want this. So, you snipe Kyogres, okay, if that's one thing. Yes, you have a Rillaboom, but that's not enough, right? You snipe the Kyogres with Wild Charge. You can snipe Yveltals with Wild Charge. You can technically do that with Rock Slide and even Max Rockfall, but the Rock Slide is not, it's a spread move, and we want a little bit more damage. But more importantly, you can change terrain into electric terrain, which will not let you get slept from Venusaur Sleep Powders, Amoonguss Spores, or even silly shenanigans like Gastrodon Yawn or Blastoise Yawn, right? Because if you go with the lightning, you get the terrain up, and now they basically wasted a turn because you're not going to be able to fall asleep. So, for all those reasons, Wild Charge is an excellent tech on Solgaleo. And you saw it in the Victory Road on that AV Solgaleo. He also ran Wild Charge, so he saw what I saw. Okay, so there's that, and now we'll go into Rillaboom. Okay, this is where we go. Let's go into Grassy Surge. So we're going to go with the Miracle Seed here just to be a very hard-hitting Rillaboom. We are going to go with Grassy Glide. We're going to go with Fake Out. Then over here in the last slot, we'll go with Protect. Now, over here in this third move, again, this is always up to the player. You can go with the Wood Hammer. I think that's very, very good. You can go even for U-Turn, which is a pivot move. All right, or you can go with this other tech, which is called Drum Beating, for more speed control. And this has come up a couple times, especially when you have Tornadus Tailwind shenanigans. So what you can do is you can go for a Drum Beating on, say, like a Zacian, get some speed control. They may KO you, but then you can bring in Entei in the back, and then you can finish the job with Sacred Fire, for example. Or you can even bring in your own Solgaleo and click Earthquake or Sunsteel Strike and finish the job from there. So this way you can outspeed it. But yeah, I still like Drum Beating on Rillaboom. So until it fails me, otherwise I'm keeping it. But if you like Wood Hammer, if you like U-Turn, if you like Knockoff, which I think is better on an AV Rillaboom set, then feel free to change it. But this is my reasoning behind Drum Beating. All right, Entei, this is a standard Entei set. We're gonna go with Sacred Fire. Extreme Speed is also really, really nice. Bulldoze, and then finally Snarl. Okay. And then our Grimmsnarl, again, it is going to be a Light Screen Reflect set. So we're going to go Light Clay. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this down. And then stab move first. Spirit Break, of course, this is really good into Yveltal and Palkia, because without this fairy move, we don't have too much to really hit Palkia with. Yveltal we can kind of deal with Solgaleo Wild Charge, but even then, we still need a little bit more, and the Spirit Break helps a lot against both of those. And then finally, just so that we can pin the Calyrex, we can go with Sucker Punch here, and this also has a dual purpose, because this allows you, if you can lead either Tornadus or Entei, if they kill one of them, you can bring in your Solgaleo, and then there's also chances where you can Sucker Punch your own Dynamax Solgaleo, proc the policy that way, and then smash. But then with Sucker Punch, you pin the opposing Calyrex Shadow, which is the main reason why you run it. All right, so yeah, this is our 6. This is the movesets. So now let's take a look at the EVs, and let's do some of the simpler ones first. So our Grimmsnarl spread hasn't really changed. Okay, we're still gonna go with 28 speed. This is just so that after Tailwind we outspeed base 100s, so we can go for potential Spirit Break into those annoying Charizards, those annoying Zapdoses. All right, things that don't want to take a Spirit Break on the first turn. All right, and we can even do it on like Palkias, especially if they don't think we go for it. But yeah, so there's our 28 speed, and then from here, I still like our Careful set, which is 116, just to hit that bump. Right, there it is. So you went from 119 to 121, and again, this is an EV bump, and if you don't know what an EV bump is, comment in the video below. I will explain what an EV bump is, because every competitive player needs to know what these are if you want to take your team building to the next level. But anyway, from here we just need 4 attack. We don't really need Grimmsnarl to be dealing that much damage. It's just to be a supportive mon, slow the game down with your screens, and pin the Calyrex if we need to. That's really its main purpose. And then from here we just want to get some defenses, about 140, that magic 103 prime number, and then finally get those 220 EVs into our HP stat, just to round it off. So that's our Grimmsnarl spread. It's always been like this. This has been the same Grimmsnarl since day 1. All right, Entei here. Again, I went Adamant Entei in the beginning, just to change things up a bit, but with the rise of Zapdoses and Charizards and whatnot, they're more important now than ever. I decided I can't lose the speed tie, so I went back to Jolly Entei. So we are going to go max speed here, and then from here we'll just have 1 point in the HP just to optimize our weather damage. All right, 1 extra HP, might as well. And then from here, about 60 defense. Again, I'm going for that magic prime number, and then the rest, just 1 point in defense, and then finally dump the rest in your attack stat, right? So you lost a little bit of attack, but again, not too much where it makes a huge difference, because even if you're max attack, you're not OHKOing Zacian anyway, right? So let's just take a little bit and just invest in some SPDF, because that's what's going to let you live certain things when you do some damage calcs, which we will show in the middle part of the video. Okay, Rillaboom here. So the thing with Rillaboom, let's just go Adamant and 252. We want to be the hardest Rillaboom possible. I always like to get Rillaboom's HP to 192. This is to optimize grassy terrain recovery, because 192 divided by 16 is a perfect 12. So you get 12 HP recovery per turn from the grassy terrain. All right, and then from here, you're just going to get about 52 defense, and I'll show you what this calcs for when we get to the damage calcs. But 4 in special defense, and then the rest in speed. So 114 speed, which is actually kind of cool, because you outspeed speed creepers for base 100. So they generally like to go for 112, 113, especially those Blastoises, but you got the Rillaboom at 114 to outspeed those. Okay, so always nice. Now for Tornadus, this is an easy one. We just want to be timid, max speed. All right, optimize your HP 159, just a tiny bit, a little bit in the bulk. All right, and then just dump the rest in special attack. Okay, and that's really all you want your Tornadus to do. And you'd be surprised that with screens and this tiny bit of bulk, how much it matters. Okay, stay tuned. Okay, now let's go into Kyogre here. So we just want to be a hard-hitting Kyogre that can outspeed Regieleki in Tailwind, and that's really the main one that I care about. So that number is going to be 228, right? You can outspeed Regieleki with this speed, but other Kyogres are going to be doing that too. So what we're going to do is outspeed the speed creepers and go to 236. So this way we have the faster Kyogre. All right. And then from here, we just want to go pretty much almost max special attack. Just go to the third bump here. That's really all we want. Because, you know, even though we're missing just a tiny bit of EVs, it's not going to matter too much in the damage calcs. All right. And then from here, just go 4, 4, and then just dump the rest in your HP. And that's really all you need your Kyogre to do. Okay. So we did the Kyogre. Yeah, I think we did everything except the Solgaleo. Okay. So for the Solgaleo, same reason here. But I'm going to be adamant. All right. A very fast Solgaleo. And I'm going to be... How much speed do I want? Okay, I think... Alright, so you have a couple options, right? So if you go 149, after +1, you outspeed Calyrex Shadow Rider, which, you know, that's one of Solgaleo's arch nemesis, right? Calyrex Shadow. So if you want to go max adamant, you can, okay? For me, because I have the screens anyway, he'll proc my policy and then I'll just KO him right back. I'm gonna take a different approach and go to 146, right? Because this will outspeed Venusaur here with or without Sun. Because if I have Tailwind and he has Chlorophyll, I'm going to win that speed tie. I'm going to go for the Max Lightning. If he goes to the Sleep Powder, he's going to be sad. Okay, and then I'll hit him hard with the Sunsteel Strike. Okay, and then from here, I just want to go second EV bump in the attack stat. So 187, right? You went from 185 to 187. If you want to go third EV bump, then you go to 180, right? Because then it becomes 196 to 198. And I think that's also pretty cool. But I want a little bit more bulk and I'll show you why. But I'm going to go to 187. All right, then from here, again, I'm going to go to 84 HP stat, just a tiny bit of optimization for weather, and then just a tiny bit of defense for our defenses. You know, we don't really need defense. We're going for max steel spikes here. Okay, so we'll be okay there. And then the rest goes in special defense. And there is a calc for this kind of spread. And I'll show you what it is when we get to the damage calc section. Okay, now this is, again, one version of the squad. All right, let me upload the paste. So yeah, I mean, you know, you got that fire, water, grass core, you got a steel, you got a fair, you don't have a dragon, but that's okay. You still got good speed control with Tailwind. You have a little bit more with the bulldoze, okay, and even the drum beating if it needs to be used. All right, you got the screen support from the Grimmsnarl, and then Kyogre and mostly Solgaleo will be your Dynamax option. Solgaleo wants to Dynamax, right? That's what makes it so good. Tornadus can Dynamax, and even the Entei, it can, but not really, right? The Entei's job is just to be supportive, you know, proc the policy with the bulldoze, you know, be that solid answer to Zacian, where, you know, Kyogres and Solgaleo can just finish the job. And then Solgaleo, you're just supposed to be a powerhouse, and then Kyogre can just come in the back and click Water Spout and end the game from there, right? You don't really want to be maxing the Kyogre so much on this kind of squad. Sometimes you have to, but the main max options would either be like your Solgaleo and sometimes the Torn or the Entei. All right, so this is one version. I'll show you some damage calcs. We'll do some sample bows, and then I'll show you a second version that I've been looking at. And then I'll see which ones you guys like the most. All right, so let's take a look at some calcs. Okay, so let me show you the Solgaleo calc. So basically, we have the standard Zard here with the Life Orb, and there's the Sun. So obviously, Heat Wave, no Dynamax for both sides. We'll just absolutely murder Solgaleo, okay? From full to zero, okay? And then now let me show you something interesting here. And again, this is the magic of Grimmsnarl. So Charizard has the Life Orb, you have the Sun, you're timid, you're 252, 252, you Dynamax, I Dynamax. Guess what? Solgaleo, you still die to G-Max Wildfire, but what if I click light screen? What if Solgaleo is hiding behind the light screen? Look at this. The fact that Charizard in the Sun, Life Orb, and super effective. Okay, look at this. With this investment, Solgaleo actually lives a G-Max Wildfire in the Sun from a Life Orb Charizard. That is insane, okay? You know how hard Charizard hits, but with this EV spread and the light screen from Grimmsnarl, you live, you can KO it right back. You Dynamax, you're +2. and then you say goodbye to Charizard. Unbelievable. And if you want, you can take a little bit off of the HP or even the speed, and just make it so that it's 100%. But I like 6.3% chance. That's totally fine by me. If he gets the roll, he deserves to win the lottery. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. So the fact that you can live the Charizard is kind of cool. All right, let's look at another calc. Let's look at Calyrex Shadow Rider. Okay, so Calyrex, the Shadow Rider, we go standard Calyrex with the Life Orb, and again, without when Dynamax, no screens, Max Phantasm with the Life Orb does not kill Solgaleo with this investment. And again, you're +2. Okay, you can go for these hard-hitting Dynamax moves, whether it be a Quake or a Max Steel Spike. All right, and you can potentially KO this Calyrex, because if he has the Life Orb, he's going to be taking chip. And then your Max Steel Spike, if you high roll it, all right, then the Calyrex just dies. Okay, so there's that. I mean, the fact that, again, you live this Phantasm from a Calyrex, one of your main weaknesses, either it's a Yveltal or Calyrex Shadow Rider, and with this investment, you actually live. All right, so that's kind of cool. When there's no Max, all right, Astral Barrage kills, okay, with the Life Orb, but if you have the Light Screen, you're chilling, and then you go for Sunsteel Strike, and then you pick up the KO. So that's honestly really, really nice. So again, Grimmsnarl makes all the calcs work, but without the screens, again, if you Dynamax and they Dynamax, have no fear, you're gonna live, okay? Let them go for it. So those are the two main calcs that I wanted to show you. All right, Landorus and Groudon. I mean, sure, we can show that if you want, but you're totally fine there. So let's actually just show Landorus. And again, even if he does, we still have the Grimmsnarl. So let's go standard Lando, and we'll even give it the Life Orb later on. So Dynamax, Max Quake. Okay, now, okay, so if we're not Max, that kills, right? Standard, no Life Orb. All right, if we're Dynamax, that 51 to 60, that barely does anything. Okay, let's even give it the Life Orb. All right, 66 to 78, no screens needed. Okay, so for what? And then if I add Reflect, you barely do more than half. Okay, as a Landorus, which is actually kind of funny. But yeah. Even if you're Adamant, what if you were Adamant Lando for some reason? Adamant Life Orb Lando, without screens, at most 85, you proc my policy. All right, I hit you hard with the Steel Spike. So it's kind of cool, the fact that you can live all of this stuff. But yeah, what about Groudon here? I don't know too many 252 Groudons. I do know some first and second bump Groudons, so let's take a look at that. So if he maxes, I max. Okay, so there's that. What about second bump here? All right, 68, and then if the worst case scenario, 252, that does nothing, right? Without even Reflect or Light. See, with Reflect, that does nothing. That barely hits Solgaleo for half, not even half, less. Okay, so yeah, Groudon doesn't do it. So Groudon doesn't do much. Lando doesn't do much. We live the Charizard, and we can survive Calyrex Shadow. And by the way, for Charizard, this is why they're running Blast Burn. All right, this is why some of them are giving. This is why they run both Heat Wave and Blast Burn, and they give up either the Ground move or the Rock move. So let me show you this, and this is something you have to be aware of. So let's just take away the Series 11 sword. No one's using this except me. So if you have, let's say you give up Scorching Sands and you go for Blast Burn. All right, this is where things get unfortunate. So wait, what did I click? That's Beak Blast. All right, we want Blast Burn. All right, in the sun. So even with this, you kind of die. Now I do want to make note that, yes, you can live one Wildfire, but at the end of the turn you might die because of the Wildfire chip. But you can take him out with you with Max Lightning. So there's that. All right, and then you have the Entei to deal with the Zacian behind with Tailwind or Screen Set. So yeah, there's that. And don't forget, you do have a Kyogre. So if you can remove the Zard, you're kind of chilling. Not that Zard can really do much to Kyogre anyway, but yeah. All right, so at least you can take that initial hit and get a move off on your own. That's the main reason for this calc. All right, so now let's move on to some other stuff. Okay, so this one is with Kyogre going up against a Magnet Regieleki. So you can see how Thunderbolt can pretty much almost one-shot it. If you do have the Grimmsnarl light screens, you can live that. Without the screens, if you max and the Aleki maxes 82%, that's gonna hurt. If it has the Life Orb, okay, if it has the Life Orb, you're still okay. If it's modest, you're still okay as well. So this tiny bit of bulk. All right, no screens actually. You can live Regieleki, Thunderbolt, Max Lightning. With the screens, then this is what it looks like. All right, and then you can just KO it right back. By the way, I don't know if people know this. Let me just unmax everything. Some people have asked in the past, like, how do you know at what point does Origin Pulse start to hit harder than Water Spout, depending on how much Kyogre has taken? I believe the magic number is 75%. So if Kyogre reaches 75%, Water Spout does a sliver more than Origin Pulse. But anything lower than this, Origin Pulse starts to do better, right? Let's look at 70. Yeah, see, Origin Pulse is now doing significantly better. So what if it was at like 73? Then yeah, see, Origin Pulse is still doing better. Now you might have the reduction in accuracy, but yeah. So generally look for that magic 74, 75% number. And in this case, yeah, see, this is equal. So when you're at that 132 HP mark in your battle, this is where Water Spout and Origin Pulse do equal damage. Anything lower than this, Origin Pulse does more damage. So just in case if you're a new player and you didn't know that, now you know, okay? So always keep that in mind. But yeah, you live the Regieleki stuff. What about the Rillaboom? What about the Adamant 252 Miracle Seed Rillaboom? Let's take a look at that. Here it is. Okay, so wait, let me go back to 100% HP. Alright, so Grassy Glide KOs, Wild Hammer 2 times KOs. If we have the Reflect, the Grassy Glide doesn't KO anymore. We have this tiny bit of bulk that can let us live. The Wood Hammer still KOs. So there's that. But again, if we max, then we still live their Wood Hammer. What if he maxes? Would he really max the Rillaboom? Okay, yeah, then it's a roll and it's in his favor. Oh, 50% chance. Oh, okay. So I got a 50% chance to live if I'm full. Okay. But yeah, even then, so you still can live Rillaboom's big attacks with the Reflect. But yeah, I mean, if you max Hailstorm will kill it. So unless he's AV, then that's something else. But then that's why you have a Life Orb Tornadus. But yeah, so those are the two main ones, the Rillaboom and the Regieleki. Alright, so with the Entei, the first one that I want to look at, believe it or not, is Palkia. And I do see, again, Palkia rising. It just won the Victory Road tournament. So Hydro Pump with the Assault Vest. Can you live it? No. But what if you had Light Screen? Can you live it now? Yes. So 96% is the roll. And then if you live it, you can go for Snarl and make it sad. And if it does Dynamax, then you're a little bit out of luck. But still, if you had Tornadus on the field, okay, Tailwind plus Snarl, then, you know, this doesn't matter. So if you just drop it to -1 for something like this, let's say if it was 252 actually, okay, you still die. All right, even with the Snarl. But you know, now what's killing your Kyogre or Solgaleo? Nothing, right? That's why you have it. And don't forget you have Wild Charge, which hits it for neutral. Okay, but you can live one. Let me undynamax it and then bring it back to it. So I had it at 236, but if it was 252 with the light screen, you can live one Hydro Pump. Okay, now what about Calyrex Shadow? Can you live the Astral Barrage? Okay, standard Calyrex with the Life Orb. Okay, standard Calyrex with the Life Orb. Okay, you can, right? Look at this. Astral Barrage does nothing. It's a spread move. And if you have light screen, even better. Can you live with Dynamax? Okay, that's what it looks like with light screen. Without it, you still live. 90% is the highest roll that it'll get into a Assault Vest Entei with our bulk. And if we have the light screen, we're fine. And then we click Snarl and we make it sad. Okay, so we live the Calyrex. We live a Hydro Pump Palkia. Now, what about some offensive stuff? Well, oh, wait, what about Charizard Max Quake? Okay, let's take a look at that. So Charizard Max Quake. I keep clicking my Series 11 Zard. But it also carried over to Series 10. So without screens, Scorching Sands, Max Quake doesn't kill our Entei. And with light screen, we're fine. It'll do like maybe half if we're lucky. If We're unlucky, I should say. And then, you know, if we lead Tornadus with it, we can just go for that fast Snarl, bring Zard's attacks. Oh wait, I forgot the sun. Never mind. All right, it doesn't matter. We're still living, okay? But again, if we force him to max, all right, and then we can tank these hits and go for Snarl, then our Kyogre and our Solgaleo could come in from the back and finish the job. All right, so that's the main goal there. So yeah, I showed you Charizard, I showed you Calyrex, I showed you a Palkia Hydro Pump. What about like Groudon stuff, or even Landers? Can you live Groudon stuff? Let's see. Citrus Groudon, 76 investment. No Dynamax, P-Blades. It's a roll if we have Reflect. We can live, okay, so that's also nice to know. Max, another story, we still die, so take note of that. What about Landorus? Alright, standard Lando, 252, 252. Alright, okay, without Reflect. Hey, big roll, 97, we live, okay, let's go. And then Reflect, okay, 65, so that's pretty good as well. So we can live, an Earthquake, but if they're Life Orb, different story, right? This is 252, 252 non-Life Orb Landers. Okay, so some cool calcs. Now let's look at what it does into Zacian. Again, we can't really KO it, but we can mitigate some of its damage. Like, look, Sacred Fire, 94%, so that's a high roll. If it's a low roll, it's about 80%. This is the non-bulky Zacians, right? So this is straight Jolly 252, 252. All right, if we can burn it, then the problem is solved. But if it's, you know, a bulky Zacian, then we got to hit it again with a Sacred Fire. But we can tank a couple hits from Zacian, okay? Especially if it goes for close combat after the first try. But yeah, Entei should win this matchup, especially with the screen support. That's what's going to make all the difference. But, you know, yeah, I think it's really, really nice. You can even Dynamax the Entei behind screens if you had to. That's always an option. And that can really surprise the opponent. Okay, so yeah, those are our Entei calcs. Okay, and the last calc you want to know is if this is a 252 Jolly Zacian with this Rillaboom investment. Okay, you can live one Behemoth Blade. Okay, you see the max roll is 98.9, so you get a little bit of Grassy Terrain recovery, and then you can go for a potential Grassy Glide or a Wood Hammer, just to deal, you know, pretty good damage into Zacian. But you can take one Behemoth Blade. And if you have Reflect up, then it just helps a little bit more with the calcs. You still die next turn, but hey, at the very least, the first time you can go for the Wood Hammer, then the next turn you could go for the Grassy Glide and deal big damage with it. But again, I had Drum Beating actually, not the Wood Hammer. So let me just change that real quick. You know, speed control is the thing. I mean, still like 30 and 30. All right, so you chip Zacian down to its 40s if you low roll it, so it's pretty good. All right, but yeah, now that I've shown you some of the basic key damage calcs, let's take a look at some practice battles. Oh yeah, wait, before we go into the battles, I do want to show you again the Yveltal Solgaleo matchup. I think that's also important. So look at this damage with Yveltal. This is the Assault Vest Yveltal. That's only first bump in the special attacks. That Foul Play does almost half to our Dynamax Solgaleo. If we're not Dynamax, it can almost one-shot you, right? 92 to 110. It's a half favorable roll. But if you have Reflect up, then you're still okay. It's still not amazing, but hey, you're still sitting comfortably. If they proc your policy, now your ball charge is +2. And then you can just KO the Yveltal right then and there. And then if you're max and the Yveltal is max, okay. Again, with the light screen up, again, the Yveltal is not going to be doing too much. And without it, it's still not going to be doing too much. It'll just proc your policy, and then you can hit him hard with a +2 max lightning. And again, this is if they have some bulk investment, right? Sometimes they don't run that much bulk. Sometimes they're straight 252, 252. All right, but yeah, that's our Solgaleo calcs. So just be aware that even if you're +2, you can't kill it if it's a bulky one. If you had third bump, you still can't kill it. So for what? All right, but yeah, that's the main thing. If you can at least get the screens up, that's always good. You know, Steel Spike is not bad either. But again, this is always a tough one. But again, this is why you have a Kyogre. It can help you a little bit. But there is another thing that you can try against Yveltal when I show you the second version of the team. So, but for now, again, let's just go straight into some of the practice battles. All right, this is a weird team with Ho-Oh and Yveltal. Why? I don't know. And there's a random Hatterene team here. There's a Hitmontop and there's a Altaria, I guess, for weather, and there's a Rotom Wash. So Solgaleo just smashes everything there is here. The only thing, again, you have to be careful of is the Yveltal, and if he leads it, then I have to watch out. I do remember my calcs, but again, I still have to be careful. So there's my Torn, there's the Solgaleo, and there's the Rotom Wash, which is fine. There's the Yveltal. Okay, so main thing here is I know Sucker Punch doesn't kill me. Foul Play can if I go for Brutal Swing, and if he's faster, even if I max. Now the main thing is, you know, am I faster than Yveltal? Okay, that's the main reason. That's the main thing, number one. The second thing is, can I kill it with a +2 max lightning? And do you have the assault? Do you have any kind of bulk? I think because he's on like some kind of Trick Room slower team, I don't think he has that much speed. I think I'm faster. I'm almost max speed Adamant Solgaleo. Okay, so I'm willing to take a chance here. Okay, and I'm just gonna straight up Dynamax. And he actually doesn't Dynamax the Yveltal, alright? So I put all my eggs in a basket. There is the Brutal Swing. We get the policy. And the Rotom tries to go for the Electro, but he forgets that we have Clear Body. The Yveltal, for some reason, went for Snarl. I have no idea why he didn't go for Foul Play. He probably could have just won the game there. And then there's the Max Lightning. So that's where it did come in the clutch. Again, I don't care about the Ho at this point. I have a Kyogre in the back. And now Max Lightning is just wiping everything off the face of the earth. And he can Max Flare me all he wants. Solgaleo lives. Okay, and there's the Hitmontop. So he Mach Punches and kills my Solgaleo, and I go for a Weather Ball on the Hitmontop. And there's a Max Lightning from the Ho-Oh. At first I was wondering what kind of electric move does the Ho-Oh get, and I realized it's a special one. It's Thunderbolt. So this is a special Ho-Oh. But we just removed the Hitmontop and we're faster than Ho, so it just dies to Water Spout. So you don't want to really do what I did. You know, I was just trying to see, am I faster than the Yveltal? I have no idea why he clicked Snarl. I thought he should have went for Foul Play because I went for Brutal Swing. The correct play would have been to go for Tailwind first, let him proc my own policy, and then deal the +2 damage. So I did misplay that first turn. My opponent threw the game, but yeah, just be aware of that next time if you're leading against an Yveltal. Alright, so let's keep on going. Okay, this one's a little better. So this one, again, I can still lead the combo with Tornado Solgaleo with Kyogre in the back. And I think that's fine. I can bring in the Entei if I want to. But even then, and I know I'm not bringing the Rillaboom. Rillaboom can't really do too much here except for the Suicune. But again, I do have the Wild Charge on the Solgaleo, so I'm still okay. So he goes with Thundurus and Rayquaza. So 2 flying types. I go with Tornadus and Solgaleo. Okay, so he maxes the Solgaleo. I'm going to click Protect in case he goes for a Max Quake. I just want my Tailwind up. Even if he kills my Tornadus, that's still fine. Because I do have Entei in the back that can put on some pressure now and proc my policy. So I'm going to max my Solgaleo now. He's going to taunt my Solgaleo for some reason. I don't know what he thought I was going for. But there's my policy. And now here's the Max Steel Spike on the Rayquaza, and it almost kills it. That's very good damage. He goes for Max Quake. The Entei lives. Again, just as we thought. And I E-Speed just to break Sash if he had one. And then Steel Spike, just remove that Prankster Thundurus. I don't want to see it. And then he goes for another Airstream. He breaks the Entei. Okay, so now the Rayquaza is faster than me. But again, actually, I don't even think he's faster than me. Here's my Kyogre. We give him the Clover Tech with the Max Lightning. Goodbye, Suicune. Alright, and then Kyogre is still faster under Tailwind. And then there's the Water Spout. Goodbye, Rayquaza. Alright, and that tells me he probably had Zamazenta in the back because he forfeited afterwards. So, again, that's the second game where the Clover Tech of Wild Charge wins me the game. So let's look at a third battle. Okay, this is probably a Rillaboom game as well, but probably in the back. Again, I'm still leading the combo with Torn and Solgaleo because, you know, there's not too much that he can do to stop it. Okay, and then if you have Entei and Rillaboom coming in the back, or Kyogre and Rillaboom coming in the back, I think that's fine. But yeah, so again, I lead the same combo for the third straight game. He goes to Calyrex and Toxicroak. So this is probably for Kyogre. I know what it does, but I don't think I care. he goes for Fake Out. I always forget that thing gets Fake Out for whatever reason, and I go for the Steel Spike just to get my defenses up against Calyrex. He goes for the Glacial Lance. He does kill my Torn, so a little unfortunate there. I can bring in the Kyogre here. Now, I do remember he gets healed after a water attack. I do remember that much. So if I can remove this and then click Water Spout, then I'm chilling. Okay, but he maxes the Calyrex. All right, I go into the Calyrex instead. Again, that was a misplay. That should have been into the Toxicroak. So this way, I can go for a single target Water Spout if he did that. So I healed the Toxicroak instead, and then again, you see that would have killed the Calyrex because it's a spread move. So I misplayed that. He goes for the low kick, and then he procs my policy on the Solgaleo for some reason. I don't know if he thought that would kill, but that never ever kills. But yeah, anyway, now I just go into the Toxicroak, just remove it from play, just in case he swaps into Instant or Lecky. That's why I went for Quake. My Water Spout does nothing. He goes into his own Kyogre. The Thunder helps my Kyogre live. Another Wild Charge Cloverbell's tech knocks out the Kyogre. There goes the Calyrex. Alright, 3 Mons are down, and all he has left is a Regieleki. So I protect the Kyogre first. He reads it and kills the Solgaleo anyway. But now I bring in the Rillaboom, and now this is where he has to forfeit. And now you can see the chat, I tell him to click forfeit. But yeah, anyway, this is it. So he's just stalling the inevitable. So here's the Grassy Glide, and he gets it to Sash. And then he goes for Thunder. That doesn't work, and then there's the Water Spout. So there's that. Okay, so again, that was a solid battle against Kyogre Calyrex. I don't think he played that very well, but again, we also misplayed against the Toxicroak, but still we were able to pull it out. So let's look at one more. Okay, this one is with a Zacian and Kyogre with a Volcarona and Gastrodon. So Gastrodon is always a threat here. Not that it's a threat, but I need something to kill it. So the Rillaboom has to come by default, and it's going to struggle against the Zacian and the Volcarona, but at least we'll have something into Gastrodon and Kyogre. But I still don't see how he stops the combo of Tornadus and Solgaleo. Okay, so he goes with Grimmsnarl and the Gastrodon. So I think he might do something silly here. He could even max the Gastrodon and just go for like a Hailstorm on the Tornadus if he has max ice, or he could even yawn my Solgaleo. And which in that case I have max Lightning the following turn. So I'm not gonna max. I'm just gonna try and go for the Grimmsnarl, see if I can take it out. So there's my Tailwind. He goes for Reflect. I go for Sunsteel Strike, and it almost does. And there's the silly yawn. So again, I knew he would do something stupid like this. So now the plan is to once again Dynamax, click Max Lightning for the 4th straight game, set the terrain, and don't fall asleep. Okay, so here we go. There's the max. Here's the light screen. I go for the Brutal Swing. We proc the policy. And then from here, okay, then we go for the Max Lightning, and goodbye Grimmsnarl. So down it goes. Alright, he goes for Ice Beam. That doesn't kill Tornadus. Alright, and then from now he goes into Zacian. So I thought he would protect the Zacian, which is why I click Max Quake. But I should have just clicked into Zacian anyway. At least I could just chip it. But I went into the Gastrodon when I brought a Rillaboom. I don't know why I did that. So both the Zacian and the Gastro double up on Solgaleo, but it doesn't work. And now the Gastrodon clicks Protect. And then now I go for the Max Quake, and we actually killed the Zacian even though he had Reflect. So that's not a very bulky Zacian. And now all he has left is a Kyogre and a Gastrodon sitting in front of a Rillaboom, and that's not good news for him. He maxes the Kyogre, which is his main max left. We remove the Gastrodon. We're trying to make it a 3-on-1. And there is the Wild Charge. That does very, very good damage. That's all the damage I need. He goes for the Solgaleo instead of the Rillaboom. But that's pretty much it, because now I have Tornadus. So I actually meme on him with Drum Beating and Tailwind. I should have just went for Hurricane and Grassy Glide, but again, it's fine. You know, this is basically for the video content, right? And there's the Grassy Glide, and down goes Kyogre, right? So all 4 games we used Max Lightning or Wild Charge, and we got to bring all the Mons on on the entire team. Did we lead the same? We did. But that's because the matchup says I could do it. But now let me show you one other way of trying to build this based on what I've gathered later on in the series. So what I'm thinking here is something that I did with the Metagross squad of Series 11 when I did Kyogre Metagross, and that team had Zapdos. And this is, let me explain why Zapdos is always good on a Kyogre team. But first let me put static on this, because Zapdos has Stab Electric move and Stab Flying move, and we're gonna go with Hurricane here. And then Roost is a nice recovery. I think actually Protect is still pretty good. And then finally here it could be Heat Wave. So now, you know, I'll give you a couple options. With the Life Orb, Zapdos can Dynamax with the backing of Grimmsnarl, okay? And then from here, you know, if you have Thunderbolt, you're good into Kyogre. And if you have Heat Wave, which is Max Flare, yeah, you can do a lot of damage into Zacian and also into those Sun teams. So you basically rip Groudon and Venusaur to shreds, and Groudon can't really hit you unless he clicks Max Rockfall or Rock Slide. Now if you're afraid of sleep, again you have an option to go for the safety goggles on the Zapdos and then just make this a little bit more bulkier, where if you go something like this, where we can go modest, let's go 146 for the Venusaur, but I think this is also 146, so let's go one more with 147. All right, and then we make it bulky, second bump with 116 investment, and then just 4, and then 172 into the HP stat. So something like this, a bulkier Zapdos with safety goggles, it becomes a good max option. But you know, maybe you want the Life Orb on it because you do have the Grim, and you know what you could also do is because you have Snarl here, I do still like the Sucker Punch to be able to proc Policy, but then with here, I was thinking Scary Face, but I don't think that's necessary. I think this is still okay, because you're bulky, you're sitting behind screens. But yeah, I could see myself putting Zapdos on a squad like this. So let me just get this going. All right, so this one is with Heat Wave and with goggles. But again, if you like the Life Orb Zapdos, then I'll put that up right here. Okay, so then what we do is we go full Timid, you know, so this way we don't lose speed ties to Zard, and then just max it out like this. Okay, yeah, so this is my other way. Okay, now can I fit Tornadus here? Then I would probably remove the Grimmsnarl, okay, and just go full Tornadus and then just go for a Tailwind Brutal Swing. You can do it that way, or again, this is another way with the Zapdos, and this is actually not too bad. You know, Zapdos and Rillaboom, they don't want to take those ice attacks, but you got Entei, you got Solgaleo, you got Kyogre, so 3 ice resists on the team. Okay, and again, Zapdos next to Grimmsnarl screens is always really, really nice. But again, if you're afraid of getting slept, then you could probably just lead something else with the Solgaleo with Max Lightning, or you just, you know, change one of Grimmsnarl's move and go for Scary Face, or you know, you go Goggle Zapdos. So Goggle Zapdos is here, this is Life Orb Zapdos, and this is the original version with the Entei, the Kyogre, and the Grimmsnarl, the Tornadus, Solgaleo, and Rillaboom. But yeah, so you saw how Wild Charge was. You can't say me it's not a good tech. All right, it worked out all my games, and it'll probably work out, you know, even more, because there's flying types everywhere. There's Kyogre everywhere. There's still Blastoise. Okay, so yeah, I totally see it coming up a lot, you know, especially against sleep shenanigans. But yeah, this is how I would do Kyogre Solgaleo at the moment. I'm still thinking about the Zapdos situation, but I think this is not too bad right now if I'm gonna go slower and bulkier. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know what version you like, or if you have your own idea with Kyogre Solgaleo, I'll be interested to know. But again, if you're interested in team fixing, that is a tier 2 sub on the channel. So what you would do is you would send your paste to me that looks like this. I would review it, and that is one of your sub perks, and then I would improve it and fix it up for you based on what I think is best. If you want tier 3, then that is another perk to the channel where we build the team from scratch, where we sit on a Discord call, hash out the EVs, pick out the Mons, and literally it's just a team building session from scratch. So if you're interested on that, join the channel and then message me on Discord, and then we'll get straight to work. But yeah, let me know what you think of this squad. Until then, have a good one, guys. Peace.